So, by the way, this is a trailer of a game that is actually coming soon. Maybe by the time you watch this, it will already be out. It's called Battlefield 1. And this is actually the trailer that made me angry and made me move on. I've worked in an animation studio, which I started out, but later I had partners. But those partners, as you get into this world of media, you'll come to realize it reaches a point. Quantity is more important than quality. You know, the companies the companies that you work with actually favor quantity more than quality. So you may want to pump up the quality for your own artistic reasons, like I have, but there's no space for that. They want an episode. They want you to produce 4 episodes per month. 4 episodes per month. That means there's no way you can pump up the quality, because anyway, the only thing that is important to them is 4 episodes, not 4 high quality episodes. So once I saw this trailer, I was like, okay, enough. I should leave that company, even though I've studied it myself. But I should go and start another company where I can pump up the quality, where I can create something that is going to last. Okay? And quality, I'm not just talking about the visuals, I'm talking about the story, I'm talking about everything. Everything. I'll use this word a lot, the psychology of it. So let's play this trailer, and then I'm going to pause in places, and then I'm going to just tell you, okay, that looks like this kind of lens for various reasons. Okay, let's go. Okay, so what lens do you think that is? That I can say it's around 35 millimeters, because essentially it just shows the background. It doesn't show much of the background. Let's just continue watching, and then we'll figure it out as we go on. Okay, so you can see what is happening there. Then here we get killed. Okay, look what happens. So essentially, this is why I said it looks like a 35 millimeter lens, because we pretty much get this kind of feeling that we are also seeing this guy who's going to kill us very soon, and you're also getting a feeling of the background. If it could have been a 14 millimeter lens, you could have more of the background. We could have seen the whole mountain from this very first shot. You could have seen more of the mountain and more of everything in the background. But since we're also seeing a little bit of what is happening on the front, that is why this makes me think that this is somehow a 35 millimeter to 50 millimeter lens. So if you wanted to convey this kind of feeling, so you want somebody to have emotions you want somebody to anticipate something might come from the back, and also to be aware of something that is actually on the subject or the foreground. So you use such a lens. Okay, so as you can see, right, see something that came out of there. So if we use the 200 millimeter lens, it wouldn't make psychological sense to watch this trailer. By the way, if I'm spoiling for you, and in any case you wanted to watch this trailer first before we do this kind of breakdown, this is actually Battlefield 1 official Gamescom gameplay trailer. And in fact, I have 3 of them. Maybe I'll do a breakdown for all of 3 of them so that we can see more, because they are essentially the tutorials that the videos that inspired these tutorials. So let's go. So we got killed there. So that lens actually allowed. Okay, so what do you think this is? So essentially, this is somehow, it looks like some way about 50 millimeters, because we get this feeling of the subject, which is the train, and a little bit feeling of the background. So this would make sense if something came from the back. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, now this is an extreme close-up, but if you were to show like something is coming from the background, this is somehow, let's say, looks like somewhere above 50, let's say 85 millimeter. If you were to show something coming from the back, especially because of the way it's framed, it wouldn't make sense. So this puts our focus on the foreground. It's essentially, this shot is essentially psychologically telling us, look at this propeller on the front, look at this metallic stuff, and you know what, don't pay attention to what is happening in the background. Okay. Here another shot that shows us this looks like a 50 millimeter, because we get a little bit of the background and we get a little bit of the subject. Let's continue. Okay, so what lens is this? Well, this is somewhere around the 14-16 millimeter lens, because we get a lot of the background. So if something was to happen on the subject, it wouldn't make psychological sense. This shot is telling us, look at the background. As you can see, even the way it's showing us, the same case for this shot right here. It's essentially telling us, look at the background. Okay, so if something were to happen on this gun we have here on the front, it wouldn't make psychological sense to use this lens. So this lens is actually good for showing the background. So let's continue. So this one is one of those things in between. So if something was to happen to this horse rider right in front of us, it will make psychological sense. If something was to happen in the back, it will make psychological sense. So I can say this is probably a 35 millimeter to 50 millimeter lens. The same case, this is this shows us everything that is happening in the back. Okay, so this is somewhere 14, 16, 20 millimeter lens, somewhere below 35 millimeters. You can see. Okay, now this. So what shot is this? So this is somewhere above 50 millimeter, probably 60, probably 85. Even the things that is happening on this shot, as you can see, this guy gets hit by a bullet and they have these sparkles. So essentially, this shot is telling us, focus on the foreground, on the subject. So if something were to happen in the back, it wouldn't make much psychological sense. As you can see, we have a little bit of fire here in the back, but that is not something that you notice from the very beginning. I've watched this trailer 300 times, I guess. But the whole point is, there's usually so much that is happening on the screen, but you, as a cinematographer, as a director, you can use lens to direct your attention, the attention of your viewer, to where you want it to be, using lenses. So if the attention was to be the fire that is happening in the back, you should have used at least a 16, 14 millimeter or even 8 millimeter lens. Okay, so you see. So even though in this shot, let me play it again, there is fire that is happening on the back. I want you to notice the fire. But if you watched from the first time, there wouldn't be that much psychological attention. Your psychological attention, excuse me, that much psychological attention guided towards the fire in the back. But your attention is actually on this guy who gets hit by a bullet and he's somehow bulletproof. So you see, the same case here. So see, you get the point, huh? Now they're focusing on the guy on the front, even though there's so much happening in the back, but those have been cancelled by the type of lens that has actually been used here, which in this case I can say 50 and above. So essentially our focus psychologically is not in the background, it's on the subject, because of the way things are. Because of the lens that was used and the way it psychologically tells us what to do. Now here we go. As you can see the background, so this is probably 24 millimeter, 16 millimeter. So psychologically there's less attention on the guy holding the gun, but more what the gun is doing. And let's continue playing. The same case, let's continue watching. I hope you're starting to get the point of what I was talking about. So yeah, as you can see here, yeah, 16 millimeter, probably 16 millimeter, but something on the low focal lengths. Lower focal length. lower focal length, lower focal length. So you essentially get the whole point of what I'm talking about, right? When it's the kind of shot where the focus is on the is on the subject, as in here, they use those kind of lenses that I was talking about. 50 millimeter and above, maybe 35. Like here, like in this shot. Even in this very same shot, it looks like a 50 millimeter lens because there isn't much background. The background, if it was a 16 millimeter lens, we could have seen more of the mountains. But here the focus is on this guy who has this flamethrower, and that's where the director or the creator of this trailer wants us to look. And this is the shot I love the most. This is like a 16 millimeter lens. So essentially, the director wants us to see the whole boat. If they used the whole boat, the whole scenario, the sun in the back, everything, so the 16 millimeter lens allows us to see everything in the background. So if there was something in the front, let's say like somebody holding a gun, it wouldn't be much of our psychological focus because the lens wants us to see the background. Okay, so that's essentially it. And by the way, I'm not advertising this game. I just love the trailer. I haven't played the game yet. Okay, so here is one of those lenses which has the focus on the guy, the subject. So this is probably 35 millimeter or 50 millimeter lens. So it puts us in a psychological state where we focus on the subject and not the environment yet. But as we go, even in this shot, it doesn't put that much focus on the environment, rather on what is happening here, which is somebody dragging somebody. So I would say this is maybe a 35 millimeter or maybe 50 millimeter lens because of the way it makes us think. It doesn't make us feel that much about the background. And by the way, this will work the best if you watch this trailer before. If you watch this trailer before watching this tutorial, because there's this psychological thing that is called priming. Because if you watch this tutorial and then go and watch the trailer, you wouldn't see things the same way. You get that much psychological reveal, after you've been told, okay, remember this shot. How did you feel about this shot? It's like, oh, that shot felt I don't know, this guy was killing it. I don't know, I felt scared. And I'll tell you, because that was a 50 millimeter lens, it'll make more sense. So I highly recommend you watch the trailer, even though so much time has passed. But I'm going to do another one, and I would highly recommend that you watch the trailer before watching this. Okay, so that's enough. That will be advertising Xbox. So that's essentially it. So I'm going to show you another use of 16 millimeter lens on 16 millimeter lens on close-ups artistically for music videos. So I'm going to pause and then I'm going to show you that shot in a while. So here's the shot essentially. So this was for a music video. I helped. It wasn't my music video. I helped. But essentially, even though in this shot the focus is actually supposed to be on this guy over there, taking a drink and stuff, but for artistic reasons beyond human understanding, not beyond human understanding, but for artistic reasons, the lens that was used here was a 14 millimeter wide angle lens. So let's just play and see what it does. So yeah, the focus is actually the guy, but we get a little bit feeling of the background. And essentially this lens was actually selected because, because of the way it makes the camera movement feel, it has this kind of bulgy look that is actually good in this case. So when I told you before that you should understand these rules so that you can understand when to break them, but I've pretty much given you the constants in case you don't want to use too much thinking. You will be safe using wide angle lenses to show more of the background. And when I said wide angle lenses, I'm talking about 14mm lens, 16mm lenses to show more of the background, and 50mm and above to show more of the subject. But in this case, it was actually the vice versa, but it was used for artistic reasons. Okay, so yeah, so that's essentially what I wanted to show you. Now I'm going to stop this part, and then I'm going to go to and play another trailer in the next tutorial, so that you get a little bit of more understanding of what I'm talking about. I would like you to see it in action. I don't think maybe you looking one trailer will be enough. Maybe you didn't understand in this part. We are going to play another trailer again. Maybe perhaps this time, yeah, we're going to play another trailer. So see you on the next trailer, on the next episode. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next part.